Hello everyone and welcome back to Monifactory. Last time we worked on building this new underground area with a whole bunch of multi-block passive areas, which I am really happy with the way that this turned out. We also got our rotary hearth furnace built, and this thing has been doing wonders for me. But today there's a few problems I would like to address in addition to doing a little bit of progression. So grab a snack, grab a drink, do whatever you do when you watch YouTube, and join me on today's episode of Monifactory. So immediately, one of the first problems I actually almost ran into during a live stream that I did last week is power. We nearly capped out on power, so I would like to completely solve that problem today by finishing this room completely with all the NAC reactors. That means I'm going to need 12 more of these things, which hopefully isn't too expensive. So now I'm going to have to wait on a whole bunch of crafting. The next thing I would like to do whenever I'm finished with that is I would like to upgrade our substation to hold a lot more power. Yeah, as you can see, we're currently losing power. I'm pretty sure that's because all of our autocraft stuff is going on, but it's gonna take a decent amount of time for it to drain, so we'll have plenty of time to fix it. I want this thing to hold a lot of power, so we're gonna move to using ZPM Lapatronic capacitors, which can hold, that is a ridiculous amount of power. Let's compare that to the IV ones, which is 1.5 billion, and these are 24 billion. So we're really gonna increase our power capacity today, which is really good. That means whenever I need a little headroom to upgrade power, I'll have more time to do so because our stuff will be running filling this up. Alright, so I believe I should have all the reactors finished up and now running. Check this out. This is awesome. So we should be making a whole bunch of power, and we should be able to pretty much run everything in our base now, probably for a good long while. Yeah, I don't even think we're using that much power at all right now. This is kind of overkill, but better safe than sorry, really, because the one thing that's using the most power in the base as of right now, whenever it's on, is this rotary hearth furnace, as you can see. It's probably going to be running a lot more now that we're using more to Quadria for the power, so probably a good thing that we actually give it the power it needs. I'm starting to like this room. I'm starting to really like this room. So we're making, probably a stupid amount of power now. Probably can't even see what's really going on, right? Because we're making so much power. So we need to now upgrade the substation. Now, I would like to fill all of this up with CPM stuff. We're probably gonna have to do this incrementally though, just because of how much stuff this really takes, right? Can I make 18? No, I need more HPIC chips. So we'll just have to make them 9 at a time, I think. So this brings me to the realization that I need to go ahead and set up multi-blocks for all of this stuff. Because as of right now, the HP machines in here are starting to get really slow and they're not able to keep up with everything I want to do, which is precisely why we have this area down here. Now you might notice a few extra machines in here from the last episode. That's because I actually did a live stream, which thank you guys so much for those of you who showed up. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. We added a few more things over here. I will say, I don't know what's going on with the symmetry of this thing. I'm kind of losing my mind about it, but it's too late to change it. But I'm going to go ahead. I need to make a cutting machine and also a laser engraver. That way I should be able to get all these chips much faster now. So first up is going to be the cutting machine. And these are all going to follow the same principle we have down here. It's starting to look like a mess, but honestly, I really like it. Looks really cool in my opinion. So just like all the other systems, I'm going to have a stocking input bus with a whole bunch of storage buses, interface, and level emitters to level emit the different recipes I want on this thing. I'm not going to build this again on camera. I've done it so many times now, so I'll be back when I have some stuff on here. Alrighty, so I have set up both a laser engraver and a cutter here. I'm hoping it should all work. Currently, the only recipe I have loaded into this one is the RAM wafers. We use a decent amount of these actually, so I think I'm also going to stick to using phosphorus doped wafers. Because these are insanely cheap to do. In fact, I could even put this on the EBF, and I would be running this at ZPM, so it only takes 30 seconds for one of these. Or no, I'd be running this really fast, and it would be perfectly overclocked as well. So I may end up doing that. So I am going to go ahead, I think, and put those on the rotary hearth furnace over here. So this should work. I should see that making my silicone bules. It only take 5 seconds per. Look at that. That is awesome. Okay, sweet. And that's going to make me a whole bunch of my wafers. And these are pretty much free. Actually, pretty much free. So as soon as I do this, I should have wafers making, and that's going to be ridiculously fast. So now making circuits hopefully isn't bottlenecked by the laser engravers and our cutters. I'm going to go through, I'm going to do this with all of the different stuff here. It's going to take me a minute, but that's okay. Okay, so a lot of base upgrading later. I decided to also add an extraction machine over here because I was running out of argon. And I have stuff making solidified argon, specifically this microverse mission. So hopefully I no longer run into that problem. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like kind of having a chicken chase around my base all the time because systems are falling short. But that's the reason why we built this area under here, is so we could combat that with just multi-blocks and then being really fast. It's also why we upgraded power, right? So we should be able to add a lot of machines that are going to be a lot faster because, I mean, we're at the point where we're just going to start throwing power at things. Let's go ahead and upgrade the engine room. Let's hope nothing breaks here. Got to be fast about this. I think we're good. I think we're good. And now, as we can now see how much power we're making. We're making around 5 million EU a tick. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, and now I think, just over doubled our storage capacity with just those 9 ZPM Lapatronic capacitors. And I do really want to fill out this whole thing with those. So, yeah, I want to hold a serious amount of power here. Check this out, it's full. Full of the CPM capacitors and full on power. So this should, I mean, I think the next upgrade we'll be able to do is just making it pretty much infinite. So, you know, we pretty much, power storage is good for now. And the next time we upgrade it will probably be the last time, so I'm looking forward to that. Now that we have our power upgraded though, it's time I want to start doing some progression. So I would really like to get the tier 7 and tier 8 Microminer. The end goal hopefully being neutronium. We'll see at just how far we get. There's a few things we need to do, starting with putting just a whole bunch of stuff on passive. There's a lot of stuff I gotta do here, and luckily, I mean, I have a nice little mixer down here that should do it all for me. Some of the stuff I am just gonna make an EBF. Does Fluxed Electrum need to be on the giant EBF? I don't think so. So I think I am gonna do some stuff still upstairs. I do think I have some room for more EBFs anyway. But there's a bunch of stuff like enriched Aquata, Trinium, Europium, Duranide Dust, Fluxed Electrum, Cryolobus, a whole bunch of stuff. I think Coriobolus we can already do because we have Warden Tendrils, which this I do want to put on the Rotary Hearth Furnace. And this needs Gene Gasoline. So this should hopefully turn this on. I want to see how fast this goes. 11 seconds for 8 ingots. I'll take that. I'm pretty sure these also need liquid or gelid cryothium to fuel or to cool down, which I should be able to add up here. Now, as for the rest of the stuff, I think I'm going to start doing a little bit of montage because there's just a whole bunch of things that I need. Really a whole bunch of stuff that I need. So turns out it wasn't enough done to get a montage in. But I do want to talk about here for a second. I want to get into UV. And there's a whole bunch of stuff involved with getting the tier 8 Microminer, some of which being kind of UV, just a little bit. I think we could get this now as soon as we get crystal matrices, but it's kind of hard to do. So there's just a few things we have to do before we get that Microminer. There's a kind of a long line of things we have to do that I'm not sure where I'm going to put yet. And we also we really need neutronium. We're getting to that point, so we need to progress. I want to get UV. Now, there's a few ways of getting the UV material. We could get it with the tier 8.5 Microminer, which is kind of expensive. Or we could make a fusion reactor. Fusion reactor is going to be the easier way for right now. Later on, we'll be able to get the tier 8.5 Microminer, but right now, I think we have to do the fusion reactor. Unless there's some other way of getting this that I'm not aware of, it looks like we're going to need the Mark II fusion reactor. So this is going to be a whole lot of waiting. I mean, like a lot of waiting. So I'll see you guys back when I have a bit of a fusion reactor going on. I'm just kidding. That's not how we play Greg Tech. We can do something in the meantime. So in the meantime, I would like to set up dense matrix mesh, and this is so that we can go ahead and get crystal matrix. This we're going to need for the tier 8 Microminer, which I'm not even actually sure if we need the tier 7 Microminer for the tier 8. The tier 7 doesn't seem to be very useful except for layer of the Warden data, which is used with the tier 8 Microminer, to be fair, in every single one of its missions. So I guess, yeah, you kind of do. And this requires a pretty long list of things. I've already gotten calcium carbide. This is really easy to automate. But then I need a whole bunch of other stuff. I need an assembler to make raw nanotube substrate. I need to turn that into prepared nanotube substrate with cobalt nanoparticles. This needs just cobalt. It's a whole thing. It is a whole thing. So this is something that I'm actually gonna montage because we have to get this done. We need crystal matrix. It should hopefully just be a long line of things. I am kind of hoping that's it. Hopefully no unexpected rabbit holes happened, and whenever it's all done, we can set up our fusion reactor, which I'm really looking forward to. Anyways, you should be hearing music. It's montage time. You guys know just how insanely bad that rotary hearth furnace is for our power? It's not at all. We have so much power just for that thing to eat. When it's running, we're usually running around 4 million. You would think. I think a lot of this is taxed, by the way. Yeah, this thing uses a decent chunk, but we are making our hot crystal matrix, and I think I have a decent amount backlog now. I've been letting it run here for a hot minute, and I can finally clear this pin list. Holy moly. Now, if you ask me what exactly we need the tier 8 microminer for, I'm pretty sure it's just neutronium. I don't think this has really anything to do with UV now that I'm really looking at it. But I put it in this chapter because it was something we could do on the way. We have to do it anyway, so we might as well get it over with. But you guys might notice, look at this. I have the stuff to make the fusion reactor. I get the feeling I'm gonna start really liking this room. I'm starting to like stacking donuts. If I go ahead, how far apart do I want these? I'm not sure. One more over and it should be good. Awesome, so now my fusion reactor is formed, and I should be able to have it start making my... I really don't know what to call this. It's such a terrible name. We're gonna need liquid ruthenium and arsenic vapor. Now, luckily, we have so much ruthenium, it's absolutely bonkers. The downside is we have to smelt it up, then we're able to melt it down, which really sucks, but it is what it is. And I don't know if we're doing that fast enough. Okay, so doing the math, this EBF actually does make ruthenium fast enough. That's because for every 8 seconds, we're making 144 millibuckets of liquid ruthenium divided by 8. So how much we're getting per second is 18 millibuckets of ruthenium per second. And this only uses 60 millibuckets per every 1.6 seconds. So basically, we should be good. We're also going to need arsenic vapor. This is what I'm a little bit more worried about. Awesome, so now I have liquid ruthenium and arsenic vapor on passive, and I should be good to start some fusion. So with just some power, this should be ready to go. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And there we go. And I did just realize I did overclock this. So now it's definitely not gonna be making enough liquid ruthenium, so I'm probably gonna wanna make that faster. Should be able to just upgrade the energy hatch on this. So as per usual, I'm going to make a fluid solidifier with an ingot casting mold, just because I want everything to be by default an ingot. Just makes my life a little easier. And then I should be able to store this into a drawer. Boom! And that should also be a quest, I think. Yes. So now that we have that, we can actually make the UV machine casings and the UV machine holes. And we should be able to make UV machinery, including the UV energy hatch, almost right away, I think. I think the only thing stopping us really is we need better computation. We are severely lacking in computation, and this is why the UV jump from ZPM to UV is a rabbit hole, because we need to upgrade computation. It's never so simple. You think, oh, it's just one material, everything else I have. Nope. There's one thing you need, and that one thing opens up a whole bunch of other sub things, which is never easy. So we need to go ahead and mess with the research again. Now, this was very poorly planned, so what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to make a whole bunch of computers, put them over here, put them onto a network switch to have them all linked up to be making a whole bunch of computational power. But like something else we're gonna need is, before we get the network switch, because we still don't even have enough computation for that, we're gonna need to upgrade our computation components here to be the advanced ones, which I'm not sure if I already learned how to make those. Everything here I should have. I just need oh, nope, I don't have everything yet. You guys remember that rabbit hole I was talking about? We're gonna be here a minute. So we cannot upgrade our computation because we now need cryococcus to make the next tier of computation thing for the supercomputer here, this guy behind me, so that we can make the network switch to have even more computation to unlock all of the UV stuff, which I think I think we should be able to do. We just are going to need to make a few things, but I don't think it should be too bad. So the first thing that we're actually going to need to do is get all the different empowered crystals, which I don't think this should be too bad. We should be able to do with this combination crafting thing. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of auto crafting stuff to my bender to make these cells, because a lot of these need different fluids. For example, the fluid cells that we should be able to fill pretty easily. Now I should be able to make a whole bunch of these. Now, again, I don't exactly know how this works. I think I literally just have to put items around it. Hopefully it'll auto route and everything. We'll see how all of this does. I might automate this with a subnet. So here in auto crafting, I think I'm going to have an auto crafting setup for all of the different empowered crystals. I do think they all get used somewhere, so it'll be good to have. There's 6 of them total, so a setup like this should do the trick. Now, I am quite curious. Does extended crafting, do they auto pull from ME? Let's go ahead and find out. No, it does not. All right, well, in that case, I think we're just going to use laser IO to automate this, and hopefully that doesn't cause any problems. So basically, I'm going to have a whole bunch of stuff like the empowered redstonia. Let's go ahead and get all the items needed for that. And there's a few other things we're going to need on passive as well. We should have almandine. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we have plenty of this stuff. So all this is going to need to go into here. And this needs a few things like sulfuric acid glass vial. That's another really annoying thing. But these are all going to need to go on passive. So I'm also going to put a whole bunch of atomic reconstructors so that I can go ahead and get the different crystals. Like we need a nori, and then we're also going to need a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm just going to make that all here. I think it'll look cool. Hook these all up to power. And this should be just about good to go. So I'm gonna need to automate a whole bunch of stuff, right? Whole bunch of cells need to be put on passive, but that should be pretty easy. Those should be able to be done with a canner, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think I have one of those downstairs that I have ready to be used. So I think it's time, after a little bit of explaining, what I'm gonna do for a quick little montage, and hopefully I can get this all done pretty fast. It's just a whole bunch of stuff I think I need to put on auto crafting. So let's go ahead, let's get started. Cannot lie. That took me a very long time, actually. There were a lot of small little things that I had to do. One of those things I had to make mithril. I had to get oil from soul sand, which I seem to be out of soul sand. There was a whole bunch of stuff, but in the end, this is what I got, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm not sure how much we're actually going to be looking at this, but I try my best. It's all passive. Everything should be good to go, and we're good to start using stuff. So now, it's finally time to try and get this sculk charging stuff done. We do need it to get into UV, so that's the plan. So we're going to need some of these sculk chargers and sculk pylons. Now, I'm not quite sure how we get some of this stuff. It looks just like a lot of cryolobus, but it doesn't look too bad. So we should be able to get cracking on this. I should be able to pretty much auto-craft everything here. So can I make all this stuff? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. So I think I'm going to need 9 of these and then just 1 sculk charger, I think. So now I just have to wait on a little bit of stuff here, and here pretty soon we should be able to get started on this. Alrighty, so all the parts for this are done. Not quite sure where I want to put this thing. Since it's going to be automatic, I think I'm just going to put it probably in auto crafting. Actually, yeah, I think that's a great idea. So just something like this, and I think I'm just going to put the pylons facing this way, preferably. And I have no idea if I'm doing this right. And these are all going to need power. Think I may have just exploded my substation. Alrighty, so I'm kind of hoping this works. So this is going to be used for making sculk cores. I think this is like only used for sculk cores, so that's what we'll be making in this. All this stuff here we should have on passive. Awesome, so these work like the crafters where they just take in stuff on their own. So if I go ahead and I do this, it should start auto doing this. Oh yeah, it's a little slow, but it'll get the job done. And we should now hopefully be making our sculk cores here in a second. And now I just need these in a drawer to be stored. Awesome, and now we're making our sculk cores. So this is when we're finally gonna get to start being able to do stuff. Now I'm not sure how much of this stuff we actually need to automate, like disenchantment cores. I think we can just stick this on autocraft. These aren't really used for all that much. The Mazal energy cores, maybe? Yeah, we definitely want these on passive for the cryococcus. The solar panels, I don't think we care too much about, but this one we definitely want. So we need Bathial energy cores and Mazal energy cores. So the first one, Mazal energy cores, we definitely want on passive. And we should have everything we need for that. I'm just going to put that in the assembler downstairs in the basement. After I do a little bit of stuff here, I need to turn these into their gem counterparts. Okay, and it would also appear that I somehow broke my network. Not quite sure how that happened, but it did happen. Apparently the sculk charging takes a whole lot of power, so I'm going to have to limit that somehow. Now that I think about it, I actually don't think I need 9 of these. That may be the problem. I might stick to just having 1. Yeah, that could be the way to go. I might just be being silly here. Awesome, so now I have all of the smaller gems on passive. And now I should be able to just put this onto the assembler downstairs. So first is going to be the Mazal energy core. Then we're going to do the Bathial energy core. We're also going to be putting disenchantment cores on, not on passive, we're going to put this on autocraft. Then here, I think we can't do the abyssal energy core just yet, but from there, we can go ahead and make the tier 7 microminer, which is what we want. Awesome, so hopefully this should work. I don't think this needs a circuit. All right, let's test this out. I'm kind of hoping all this works because I just put some new stuff on here. Yes, perfect. Check that out. Oh, that is awesome. Oh, that is awesome. I've been working on this literally all day. More than all day, actually. It's been a few. But we finally have these. I don't think this is a quest, but that's okay. Next up, we're going to want to make these ones. I'll also just make a stack of these, and we'll go ahead and turn this on. And there shouldn't be any conflicts. We should be good. And now I should see this making, yes, the Bathial energy cores. Check that out. that one might be a quest. Oh, they are quests. I just need to hold Cryolobus double plates. What a weird thing to hold. Whole flood of quests. And now it looks like we can unlock the tier 8 microminer. As soon as we get this, which we're not far from now, we just need the discharger, which this is a pretty nice multi-block actually. And then we can unlock UV. Why is my blast furnace losing its mind over here? What are you doing? All right, it is time. I have been playing this whole weekend and trying to achieve this goal. We're going to get the tier 7 and 8 microminers. We're getting so close to finishing out this chapter. I'm hoping today we can get all of this done, if not most of it. And by next time, I want to have the chapter complete. But we'll see if that actually happens. There's a lot of stuff in between we have to do. But to start off with, let's make some microminers. So first off, we're going to need the tier 7 microminer, which I should be able... Ooh, that's a crafting table I don't have. That's okay. I should be able to craft it. Okay, so I had to make a whole bunch of these catalysts, and it turns out I'm going to need them later anyway. So I just made a whole bunch. And now I should be able to make my elite crafting table. Awesome, and now I should just be able to duplicate this a whole bunch. So hopefully I should be able to make my tier 7 microminer now. Yeah, I just need 3 more things. And luckily in the new update, we only have to craft 1 of every single microminer. Then we never have to craft it again, which I'm really happy about. I should have warp engines good and done. I might want to put these on passive at some point, but for now it'll be fine. Looks like we're also going to need something called Dark Solarium. Not something I anticipated. And a few other things here, which are a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. All right, so the only thing that we need is Dark Solarium, pretty much. Which this is Dark Steel, Solarium, and Tritium. All the things I have. So, just 1 EBF, and we should be good to go in some auto crafting. Alrighty, so now the only thing I need is I'm waiting on Dark Solarium. That's going to be a minute, unfortunately. This takes 30 seconds per. I think I literally have everything here. Yeah, check that out. That is perfect. And we will go ahead and put this, I think this one assembly line has all of the recipes on it, and I really got to lift up some of the load from this because it gets backed up a lot. Anyways, now we should, like I said, as soon as this is done, be able to get the tier 7. So for the tier 8 microminer, we're going to need Cryococcus, which needs the discharger, which I think we should be able to build this pretty much now. As soon as I get this in here, and I need some Cryolobus casing. I'm not quite sure how much power this thing uses, so I'm going to give it an IV energy hatch. And we're going to make our first big multi-block. This thing is going to get replaced at some point, right? It is still kind of big, so I am going to put it down here, but it's definitely going to get replaced by its, bigger counterpart, if you will. By this guy. By this guy. So for now, it's going right here. And I'm really starting to be in love with this terminal thing. I really am. I'm also curious to see, can I put a stocking input bus on this thing? I can. Ooh. And I'm not sure how many things there are to discharge. There's literally only 7 recipes, and I think we're only going to need 1 of these, actually. So, in fact, we're only going to make 1 of these for right now. So, this is now set up and ready for whenever we can make our tier 7 microminer, which can we get? No. Alright, well, again, we have to find something to do to fill the time. So, let's go ahead and let's look at the different missions that we want to do. For example, I know we're going to want Warden Hearts. This mission, I don't think we care too much about. So, for the most part, we want Layer of the Warden data, probably. Yeah, we're definitely going to want Layer of the Warden data. We want Warden Hearts, we need to get this mission on here. We need a pretty big source of dilithium, which I'm not sure how much we have. It looks like we have a decent amount, and it looks like we should be able to make an adjustment to one of our Microminer missions to also detect for it in our system. Awesome, so now I should have everything configured to work with dilithium. Awesome, so the dilithium problem is now solved. And everything else we should pretty much already have. As long as I can make this. Okay, I can finally craft the tier 7 microminer. That is awesome. Now, this is also going to need the tier 3 projector. I remember correctly, these are kind of big. Oh, yeah. These are kind of big. Alrighty, so I think I have everything to make this. The microverse projector, that is. And we also should have everything. Yes, perfect. Looks like we have everything to make the tier 7 microminer. And I should be able to put this microverse projector. I think I'm going to put it right here. And I should be able to just terminal this. That is so awesome. I love that. Awesome, and now it has everything that it needs. So as soon as I make this tier 6 microminer, oh, check that, or tier 7, check this out. Boom! That should be a quest. Oh yeah, sweet. We're also going to automate everything to repair it though, which is going to be a little annoying because that does mean we need to make another assembly line, but for now, right? I think every single one actually does break it, so that is something we're going to have to do now. I think everything here we should be able to very easily automate. It's just the warp engines that need an assembly line. Yeah, still a whole lot to do. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to finish this up here real quick with the system that we're using for all the other microminers. Something like this. And I should be able to set it up with a mission. I should be able to set this mission up right here. And this is going to be whenever I'm low on Warden Hearts. I do know we're going to need a lot of Warden Hearts, though. That's the one thing. So I want to run a lot of these missions. So this is going to be quite expensive. So tell me, are you going to run and do the thing? All right, so I got the first mission to run. And now I have a broken microminer that I have to repair. So I think the only thing I need to have on passive is the Enderium microminer engine core and also the warp engine. So this should be really easy. I am going to have to make another assembly line though. So I should be able to just make another assembly line right here. So I should be able to set up a subnet like so. And I should be able to teach this guy the warp engine recipe. And I'm just going to put these on passive so I can take it out of the databank. Just slap it in here. Should be able to just put an ME requester on this guy and say I want warp engines. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I'm going to have to automate too, which is really annoying, but it is what it is. But I should hopefully have everything I need to automate all of this. It's going to be a lot of assembly recipes. Not my favorite thing in the world, but I have to deal with it. So all the different thrusters, I have to do a few canning recipes and a few assembler recipes. This shouldn't take me too long. Alrighty, so I have everything done and crafted. This took me so long to do. There was so much stuff I had to do, but it is finally done. Now I'm only waiting on Dark Solarium. Once I get all the Dark Solarium I need, I should be able to put the warp engines on passive right here. And then now what I can go ahead and do is I should be able to, over here, add the broken microminer to this guy, like so. And then I just need to add the parts into here. So this should mean everything is now completely automatic. I'm literally just waiting on the Dark Solarium. That's going to take a hot minute. Should be able to put this in here. We should see this get sucked up. That should go up here. This should be making me my warp engine. And then from here, it should go into the assembler over here. Yes, perfect. Check that out. Oh, that is sweet. That's going to repair itself. And from there, it should be sent back over here to make Warden Hearts. But this should be done, and it should go right over here. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, that is all the time I have for today. We didn't get the tier 8 microminer, but I assume we'll be able to do that next time pretty easily. So if you guys enjoyed today's episode of Monifactory, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of me and more of my channel, please subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Monifactory. Later.